So if they could come up and help us start the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Oops, I'm sorry. Right here, Tom.
Flags over there. Guys ready?
Salute. And salute, guys. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
There's all sorts of ways you close cases.
Okay, we have an agenda in front of us. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted, or do we have some additions to it?
Move to approve as submitted.
Support.
Morrow, second Rhodes. Lou Morrow, second Rhodes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no absences. Citizen comment on agenda items. Under the Open Meetings Act, any citizen may come forward at this time and make comment or question on items that appear on this agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person, and this citizen comment period will be limited to a total of 45 minutes. And anyone who would like to speak is requested but not required to state his or her name and address for the record.
Good evening. Mary Hess, 600 Canterbury. I noticed 2 weeks from tomorrow night is going to be election night, and we have 4 council candidates, all of which could have hit the ground running. I noticed tonight we have a resignation of Councilmember Ping, dated October 12th. On October 14th, there was a letter from Linda Terhar saying she would be willing to take the empty council seat. Apparently, the appointment by the mayor was made on Thursday to be put on the agenda. I overheard Councilmember Little telling the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts on how you go about becoming elected. You knock on doors, you get signed petitions, and you meet the people. Every one of the 4 candidates have done this. The opportunity was never put out to the public for the vacant seat, but I would have thought, since you don't know what the count is going to be between the 3rd and the 4th council candidate, possibly it'll be as little as 30, maybe as much as 100. But they went through the process, and they all are experienced. As far as Ms. Terhan, I've been around here for 40-some years, 50-some years, and over 40 in political government. And I'm disappointed that we didn't, with as much concern as you have for the budget and other things that are pending, that we didn't work as far as opening up this for the people on their election rather than pointing it to 7 members. My other concern is that I notice on Mr. Burgoyne's financial status report that a part of one of our problems is unfunded post-employee liability of $6 million. It was $4 million, or in fact $2 million about 8 years ago. So when we're giving out 6% increases to staff, I think that I had worked very hard on council to try and get money to reduce this obligation. Thank you.
Thank you. Big one. No, the other one.
Sure.
Move it.
Just put it on the floor. So, sorry. Put it up. It was on that table.
Hi, Alicia Ping, 307 North Harris. I wanted to come before council tonight to say thank you. I'm so nervous. I've never stood on this side. When I was first elected in 1998, I never thought how fulfilling the job to serve as council member would be. And So I've been on council most of my adult life. So I was 25 when I got elected. So I won't tell you how old I am now. You probably figure that out. But so I just want to say thank you to this council and all the previous council members that I've served with, the citizens that I've been able to represent and work for, and lastly, the staff. It's an amazing group of people, and the city is very lucky to have such amazing people working for them. So thank you very much. It's been an honor to serve with you.
Thanks.
Madam Mayor.
Is there any other citizen comments? Okay, under the consent agenda, the following consent agenda will normally be adopted without discussion. However, at the request of any citizen or council member, any item may be removed from the consent agenda for council discussion.
Move to approve. As submitted.
Second.
Move Rhodes, second Ivy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under public hearings, item 10, 153, applications from Saline Electronics for an IFT. This is a motion to acknowledge receipt of the September 28, 2010 memo from Finance Director Burgoyne regarding the recommendation on IFT application from Saline Electronics and file. Do we have a motion?
Move to acknowledge receipt.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second Law. Discussion? Mr. Burgoyne?
Saline Electronics is proposing to have a further expansion, and a Special Projects Commission reviewed this and recommended a 6-year tax abatement.
So there's no further questions? Discussion on this motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to open the public hearing affording applicant and taxing units an opportunity to be heard.
Move to open. Second.
Move Ivy, second Morrow. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now open. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this issue?
Move to close.
Second.
Move Little, second Law, to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. So would be a motion to approve and adopt or not adopt the resolution approving application of Saline Electronics for industrial facilities exemption certificate in the amount of $78,867 for building and land improvements, excluding land cost, and $726,666 for machinery, equipment, furniture, and fixtures, for a total project cost of $805,533 for a period of 6 years, subject to the terms and provisions of the tax abatement agreement to be entered into by the applicant, to authorize or not authorize the mayor and clerk to execute said tax abatement agreement between the city and Saline Electronics as prepared and approved by Attorney Grossman.
Move to approve and adopt and authorize.
Support.
Move Morrow to approve and adopt and authorize, seconded by Rhodes. Discussion? I would just, I guess, the Saline Electronics, would you guys like to say anything? You had an opportunity earlier, but you had an opportunity earlier to speak, but
Well, I just want to thank everybody for the support. This is I believe, our 5th industrial facilities tax exemption. What we find is that we have to continue to compete in the world as we continue to grow. We have to invest in faster equipment to be able to manufacture, and that's what this application is for, is to obtain faster equipment to be able to manufacture. I just want to note that growth is happening. November of '09, we had 82 employees, and today we're at 113. That's just under a year. And we continue to, with this new expansion on equipment, we look forward to at least another 10 to 15 more employees to be able to accommodate our growth. So, needless to say, I just want to thank everybody on the council for their support and their help in allowing us to grow and being able to compete in the world market. It is a world market, There's no question about that. We compete with Asia on a constant basis as well as Mexico. So we feel very privileged that we are growing, and with your help, we can continue to invest in the equipment that we need to make it happen.
Thank you. Thanks for growing in our community. We appreciate that. Can you talk a little bit about what you do, your businesses? Would you mind?
Saline Electronics is an electronics manufacturer that we manufacture circuit board assemblies. Circuit board assembly is something like you open up in the back of a computer, you've got a board with a bunch of circuits on it, caps, resistors, ICs, and that sort of thing. And those components continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller on less real estate, and we continue to invest in equipment to be able to do that. However, a big portion of our business has been the growth in what we call box build assemblies. These are complete assemblies, enclosures with screens, displays, all assembled, put into the customer's boxes, shipped to the customers, and they just simply give them to their customers. We're called a turnkey operation, where literally we have one customer that is continuing to grow with us, that we manufacture 1,200 units a month on this one particular item that is a diagnostic unit that reads the information off of a computer in a car or a truck to diagnose the issues going on in that vehicle. And that is in a blow molded case, in a box, printed with their name on it, and we ship 1,200 units a month just to that one customer alone. From the standpoint of technology, we have one that we're really proud of that's in Ann Arbor called IMRA. IMRA manufactures LASIK eye surgery equipment. We manufacture the complete controller, box build assembly, that makes the controller and the laser function in a fashion and accuracy that's needed. Imagine that. I had LASIK, when they cut your eyes around this, so it's pretty accurate. We just like difficult builds. We're very good at complexity. We're very good at items that require a significant population. So that's the kind of thing we did. We do right now, as a matter of fact. We just continue to grow. Medical is our big ticket items. We do a lot of controls. We do a lot of military. We don't do any automotive. So that's kind of the thing that we've been focusing on.
Any questions for the applicant? Mr. Law.
Just to, again, repeat you mentioned about the jobs that you've had over the last less than a year or so, and I know that's been some discussion in your council, and it's been a discussion item over at the Special Projects Commission, especially when we're going through the evaluation and the jobs category. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I know that, sensing from what you just said, that you have no problem, at least in your forecast, of attaining the 16-plus jobs that you expect with this IFT.
Correct.
Okay.
Like I said, from November to now, we've grown from 82 to 113. And with these new equipment, we'll be able to grab 16 to 20 additional jobs easily.
Okay.
We're anticipating, we're a small little company. We did about $17 million this year, and in this forecast, our year ends August 31st. We're looking at somewhere around 21 to 22 million. And so that's a significant growth in an economy that's kind of tight. We've been very fortunate in that we've been growing our top line every year for the past 8 years.
Do you mind me asking if most of your employees are from Saline or the Saline area?
They come from all over. They're a mixture from Ypsi, Saline, of course, Ann Arbor, Milan. Okay. We have a lot from Jackson. Mm-hmm. A lot.
All right.
That travel.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? Thank you very much.
Wait.
Yep.
Just one comment. The term "Made in America" has a wonderful ring to it, and we need more companies that can say "Made in America." So keep working and do well.
Thank you. Much obliged. We will, and we do that on our products too, Made in America.
Good.
Thank you.
We appreciate you choosing to grow in our city too, because I know there's other opportunities out there. So thank you for
Thank you,
making that
Coach.
choice. So we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve and adopt and authorize. Is there further discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, 146, this is the City of Saline Industrial Development District Number 6, 200 North Ann Arbor Street. This would be a motion to open the public hearing for the establishment of the City of Saline Industrial Development District Number 6.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second?
Move Morrow, second Ivy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now open. Is there any public comments on this item?
Move to close?
Second.
A motion by Mr. Little and a second by Mr. Law to close the public hearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. This would be a motion to approve and adopt or not adopt the resolution as submitted establishing the City of Saline Industrial Development District Number 6 for the property described as Saline Union School, Lot 18 of Assessor's Plat Number 2, City of Saline, Washtenaw County, Michigan, Liber 9 of Plats, page 39, or 200 North Ann Arbor Street. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve and adopt.
Second.
Move Rhodes, second Morrow, to approve and adopt. Mr. Burgoyne, would you, or maybe Mr. Grossman, like to maybe discuss what this is, why we're doing this?
A development district allows an area where a qualified business can grow. A qualified business can be a manufacturing business or a high-tech business. Quantum Signal is a high-tech business that's buying the Union School property, and they're going to grow a high-tech business there.
Have they bought the property or are they buying it?
One of the conditions of purchasing the property was to obtain the proper governmental approvals, and part of the approvals was to establish a development district. So I believe they've not closed on the property, and they're doing due diligence right now.
Are there any questions for Mr. Burgoyne? Is there any discussion items? No discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve and adopt, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Under new business, 10-154 ice rink locations, we have a memo from Mr. Trapp. This will be a motion to acknowledge receive the October 8, 2010 memo from Downtown Development Director Trapp.
Move to acknowledge receipt.
Support.
Move Ivy, second Rhodes.
Moved law.
Oh, was it
law.
Mr. Law? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, that was not even from the right side of the table. Mr. Trapp, are you going to go through this?
Sure am.
Oh, you got props and everything.
Oh, I should have brought mine and a hockey stick, too.
I thought the scarf was just a fashion statement.
That's even better. My gloves, too.
Oh, I like it. That's very good.
If you'll see our logo for Winterfest, well, the skates are on our logo character, but anyways, you got a hat, got gloves, got skates, got a muffler, so anyway. CARES Board approved on Wednesday $2,000, which should give us enough funds to buy the ice rink, which comes to $56.99, and we have $5,700, and then comes down to location. Of the 6 locations, we'd like to have it downtown, but we need a space that's big enough and that has water and electricity. And the only place that really makes sense for it is Henny Field. And if you're looking at Henny Field, it would be on the east side, north of the backstop. And so that's where I am proposing that, we do that. We need to do a little leveling of the ground, not much, because it's pretty flat. And then we probably will have to do some seeding in the spring when we lift up the ice rink. I've been promised a 2 to 3 week delivery, so if we order it tomorrow, we can have it sometime in the middle of November and have it in place probably before Thanksgiving. And not that I'm wishing that we had cold weather, but cold weather is a fact and it's going to come, so I'd like to be ready for it. The biggest concern that the CARES Board had was how are we going to publicize it? How are we going to make the public aware? Well, today, I'm trying to make people aware that we're going to have an ice rink downtown. So, anyways, we'll do things on Be Saline, Facebook, part of Winterfest. We'll do it part of the parade, etc. any opportunity we have to publicize the ice rink, we will do that, so.
Discussion, questions? Mr. Rhodes?
One update to page 2 of your proposal for the Henny site. It has electricity to come. The electricity is in fact on site now.
Yep.
I had a question about the one downtown, the parking lot one that says no water. Did you talk to the property owner there?
No, I did
It's not
not.
a city property, so we
There's
don't,
an
it's
immense-
not really, I mean, is it even a viable option? Because when we just use a hydrant, just like we would be using on Henny Field, I mean, to try to get it downtown.
It's just not big enough, that's,
So that's really not the issue then?
yeah.
It's not, that
But
there's no
water, there's no hydrant right near there accessible to it, so. It takes about 12,000 gallons to do a 4-inch based on the 60 by 100.
Because this down on Henny Field is way far. It's like on the north side of Henny Field.
It's on the north side of Henny Field. On
It's
the
great,
east-
it's in my backyard, but I would prefer to see it downtown.
I would too, but finding a spot was not something that was there, so.
Mr. Law?
Even though the location may not be downtown, I think it's close enough to downtown that I hope and would think that people will go downtown and shop around and look around. And the other benefit of the fact is that it is getting people outdoors on a winter's day that would otherwise they would stay inside and watch the TV, which of course is full of junk anyway. So go out and skate and enjoy yourselves outdoors. Mr. Trapp is dressed appropriately for that. No hockey sticks, right?
No hockey
Pucks.
sticks. This is strictly skating, no hockey.
Hockey sticks, maybe hockey next time. But like Mr. Trapp said, I'm hoping that everyone goes out and takes advantage of this new opportunity.
The other great benefit of doing Henny Field is the parking is right there, so.
And there is a paved path from Henny up to town. That's helpful. Are we looking for an approval motion or something, or just receive?
Well, I know, that's what I would, I guess, did you tell the CARES people that it would be at Henny Field, or did you say it was?
I told them that it would be approved by city council as to location. And I've talked with Scott Graydon at the school, and he's all for it. The only thing we need to provide is a certificate of insurance.
Well, I guess, again, my concern is it's pretty far from the downtown, so is there going to be any presence of the merchants or any kind of opportunities to market the downtown? Because that was, for me, part of the whole, focus on having another thing to bring people out and about and get them to hang around if they're going to end up away from our merchants. I mean, it's a great recreation thing, but we could do it at the rec center then. So I guess, have you talked to the merchants at all about the location?
Yes, and they're all for it, so.
Are they going to have any brochures or anything down there, talk about their businesses, or
We haven't got that far because we didn't know where it was going to be, so,
are they all for it down at Henny Field?
yes.
So you went to the DMA Association and said this is
Yeah,
the
I go
place
to
you're
the meetings
recommending?
regularly with them, talk about it.
So they're aware this is where the city's number one choice is?
It was my number one choice, and it's my recommendation to the city as to where it would be.
So the merchants are aware of that? I
Yes.
just want to make sure because it's not that close, so. Okay,
During Winterfest, we will have the ice rink, but we will also, at that point in time, have LaFontaine is going to do a hay wagon and run people back and forth during the course of Winterfest. And we'll have some events down at Henny Field, but the ice rink will be down there too. And so they're making a sleigh out hay wagon, and it'll be pulled by a Jeep, and it'll run back and forth throughout the entire day. So it's just one more thing to,
yeah, I mean, if there's any way to continue to try to tie it, because I know when we had concerts, even at City Hall property before this building was here, a lot of people didn't actually go downtown, they just came to the concert, and then they went home. And so if there's a way to, with some traffic thinking about where to go to get warm, with food and all that good stuff, it would be helpful. Okay, I know you spent a lot of time researching this, and I've been following it. I don't think I thought it was on, near, closer to the Owens Court, closer, I think I thought it was,
There isn't a level spot where you're talking about,
yeah.
because it just kind of slopes down to the sidewalk, where the northeast section of Henny Park is relatively flat. There is some elevation change, but it's really minor and could be filled in easily and made level so that we don't have to do anything excessive as far as the amount of water we need or the amount of bracing or backing that we need for the ice rink itself.
Well, maybe we could do like a rotating special or something for the restaurants downtown, you know, who's
Yep.
at the ice rinks. If they come in dressed like you get 10% off your hot toddy or whatever, so, hot cocoa. Okay, I just, like I said, I was sort of hoping it would be a little bit closer, but, Mr. Little,
What about lighting at night?
there's lighting, I can see it.
There's 4 streetlights down there now,
Not a
and
problem.
we're talking about putting up like some, I don't know what you call them, some stanchions with like large Christmas tree lights around it like they did in Dexter, so. It's not going to be an all-night thing, that's for sure. I mean, I haven't gotten to a point where, you know, we've decided on how long it's going to be, but I can't see it going much past 9, 10 o'clock, so.
But there's nothing stopping people from skating on it after that.
No,
Okay, so to get clarity around this motion, I think we want to add to it, to place the ice rink at Henny Field as located on the map regarding Henny Field. And Mr. Law, you moved this motion, and Mr. Rhodes, you were the second. Would you be willing to add that to your motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Does everybody else on council understand the addition to the motion?
Can you read it in its entirety, please?
Yes. This would be a motion to acknowledge receive the October 8th, 2010 memo from Downtown Development Director Trapp and place the ice rink on Henny Field at the location on the map in the memo.
Thank you.
Did you get that? Further discussion on the motion? Mr. Ivy?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Trapp, even before I read your memo, this was my first choice for the location. I thought it was leveled, and I went there today, in fact, and looked, and as you get closer to the baseball backstop, there's kind of a slope there. But
Right.
the closer you are to the parking lot, the flatter it is. It's an ideal spot. Mayor, I don't share your concern about the downtown. I think this is a big city, and we need more things happening throughout this city. Take the farmers market, for example, this summer. We decided another venue would be in order, and we tried another venue at the library, and it worked out just fine. So I think that the location is ideal. I just have 2 minor questions that maybe you can't answer. Maybe these are questions for the DPW or Mr. Campbell. The fire hydrant is between this parking lot and the proposed location, and at times there's going to need to be a hose connected from the hydrant to the
Yes.
ice rink. That's not going to be any conflict for people using that parking lot, I trust?
well, I have an agreement with the firemen, our Saline firemen, who will do the maintenance of it, and that will be done during the night. So I'm not really looking for people to be out there during the time that we have the hoses out or anything like that.
And the other question, Mr. Trapp, I know that the benches in Henny Field and in the park have just been recently installed. Only a couple of months ago they went through and installed quite a few benches. Do we have the capability of getting any kind of portable seating? Because I know people are going to want to sit down, and there's only, my recollection is maybe 2 benches at the most in that vicinity where the proposed...
I'm hoping to get some like picnic tables or whatever, and have them down in that area for the couple of months or whatever that we have the ice rink going.
Great, that'd be great.
I know we have one at City Hall out here, and I know that there's probably a couple more around that we can borrow for the season, because typically the picnic benches or picnic tables that we have around are used during the summer, but not during the winter, so I think it'd be great, multi-use of them for both seasons.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, I commend you, sir, for the work that you've done on this. It looks like you've got a good plan. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Further discussion on this motion? Okay, so we have a motion to acknowledge receipt and place the ice rink in Henny Field. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Item 10-155, the resignation of Councilmember Ping and the appointment of a new council member. I have a motion to acknowledge with regret the receipt of October 12, 2010 letter of resignation of Councilmember Ping, effective that date, and to wish Ms. Ping continued success. Do we have
Move
a
to
motion?
acknowledge receipt.
Second.
Morrell, second. Little discussion? Mr. Law.
Just my own words express the gratitude for Councilmember Ping and her years of service to the city and to the citizens. It's been a great pleasure to work with her and get to know her, and as it says here, certainly wish her the best of luck in the future.
Further discussion? Mr. Morrow.
I'd just like to echo the statements of my colleague, Mr. Law. Although I had the misfortune, I guess if you will, of only being able to work with her for a little under 2 years, it was a distinct privilege and honor. I actually think of her as a mentor and a good friend, and I thank her for her outstanding service to the city and wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Further discussion? I just say the same thing. We've served parallel paths, you as council member, myself as mayor, and we are going to ask you to come back because we will be having a plaque to present to you in gratitude for your service to the community and to our council, and you will be missed. You have brought a lot of innovative ideas through your travels and your leadership in organizations around the state and the country, and I know you have future political plans, and you hopefully will be representing our community at the county level, and so we'd like to have a nice direct line to the county level, so we will be calling on you, and likewise, I expect you'll be calling on us to ask questions about issues that affect local government. We wish you the best of luck, and we will miss you very much. If there's no further discussion, all in favor to acknowledge receipt with regret signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The motion to appoint Linda Tahar to the office of council member to complete the unexpired term of Councilmember Ping, ending the first Monday in 2012. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Move Little. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second Law. This is a motion to appoint Linda Tahar to the office of council member to complete the unexpired term of Councilmember Ping, ending the first Monday in 2012. Ms. Tahar was not able to be here tonight, but she did write a letter that is on the back of the resignation letter from Ms. Ping. I don't know if it would be appropriate to read it, since she's not able to be here, or do you have questions about the appointment? Her background, she has lived in the city since 1995, and she is the chair of the Friends of the Library Bookstore, and also very active in our two citizen sister city committees, Lindenberg Friendship Committee and the Saline Brecken Friendship Guild, and she's also active in a church. And she is a retired head of the University of Michigan Library and has experience in management planning and budgeting. So, but anyhow, there was a lengthy letter that was attached to the back of Ms. King's letter. Is there any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, say aye. Oh, sorry, Mr. Rhodes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's unfortunate that the timing of this is what it is, but I have had the pleasure of working with Ms. Terhar previously, and she did go through Saline Leadership Institute, and I think that she will be an appropriate representative of the community on City Council.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Mr. Ivey.
Thank you, Mayor. I find it a little bit surprising that Ms. Terhar couldn't make it tonight, and I'm a little disappointed in that because I've never met Ms. Terhar, and I would like her to address the council, and I feel a little reluctant about going ahead and approving this appointment. I will do so based on the recommendations of the mayor, who has pretty high regard for this candidate, and I think I have a pretty high regard for the mayor's opinion, so I'm going to go ahead and support this motion on that basis.
Mr. Little?
I have been on council in the way back when a vacancy came up, an appointment was made. It's I think, very important that there be 7 people on council, because leaving a chair empty means that you have the potential for a lot of 3-3 splits, which is no action. And this city can't afford to have no action and bring it back in 2 weeks and so on and so forth. So I think it's a critical thing to do, and I'm glad we're doing it. And hopefully she's going to be a strong addition and work very hard for people.
Yeah, as far as she's out of town on a business trip with her husband, so on an electric car conference. Actually, her husband has approached David and myself about putting some plug-ins around the community, and so they're in Toronto at the electric car conference, and they're not back till tomorrow, so that's why she's not here. But is there further discussion on this motion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we have a motion to appoint Linda Terhar to serve as council's representative on the Arts and Culture Committee, Environmental Commission, and alternate to Michigan Municipal League through December 31st, 2010, replacing Councilmember Ping. You have a motion?
Move to appoint.
You have a second? Is there no second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Under discussion, commission committee reports from council members. Mr. Law.
The Planning Commission recently gave a formal amendment that would allow a driveway to be, I guess, more or less constructed. It's already there, but it's across from the Henry Street. It's on Henry Street. It's across from Sun Engineering, the facility there. It's really a safety issue when it comes down to it for the workers and for everyone that uses that street, because right now it's the way they have to back in those large trucks. It's very, very cumbersome and difficult. They have to basically shut down the road until they are able to get the trucks in there. This driveway, again, across from the plant, will make it much easier for the trucks to move right in and then make basically a straight line back out. There will always be someone from the plant there to guide, so it's never going to be just the driver doing it, because that would be not a good idea. Excuse me. The other one was a note of item to take note of was that the commission agreed to extend the site plan for the Clean Getaway car wash. That's the one that's the back of the, help me here.
Tractor Supply.
Thank you. Tractor Supply shop that's been pretty much constructed for a while, but has had some real problems getting completed financially and otherwise. And it was pretty much a split vote from the commission on whether to extend this site plan for Mr. Deal. However, since the facility, as I understand it, is up for sale, the hope is that by extending this site plan, it will entice a buyer to come forward and hopefully be able to complete it. And finally, the master plan, it's in the final stages of being presented to the City Council. I believe the plan by Mr. Lewan is to get it finalized, and therefore we'll circulate it around the area communities to get any review or feedback, and then it will come here to Council for final approval. Thank you.
Any other commissioner committee reports? The BDA met last week, and they're still working on, they're trying to expand the planters. You know, we had the hanging planters, sort of the same kind of program. I think we brought up before about the lights. We expand the lights from the four corners out along the Michigan corridor and the north and south Ann Arbor Street corridor. The concept is to do that also with the hanging baskets, and then sort of move away a little bit from the flower boxes, and actually we're talking about trying to adopt a flower box program similar, and maybe accessing the Green Thumb awardees to adopt their own little mini garden downtown. And we talked about the ice rink, and we also talked a little bit about the program, the Main Street Michigan program, and there's 4 training sessions, and we've now completed 2 sessions. And they'll be coming, was the date December 14th? that they'll be coming, the Michigan Main Street programmers will be coming to the city to talk about the Michigan Main Street program and what it means to participate at the next level beyond associate. So everybody should put that on the calendar, make sure that they can attend that meeting. Also, the Arts and Culture Committee is having a meeting on November 9th regarding the public art street furniture that they're planning on putting downtown, to do a presentation of the concept of the sculpture that's actually seating. So if you could put, they also are very interested in having council members be at that to understand the concept and the vision of that in art. So is there other commissioner committee reports? Mr. Little?
I just have an item to mention. You talked about the arts and the committee. I had the opportunity to go to Grand Rapids to the Art Prize and walk around amongst all that. And of course, Grand Rapids is the second largest city in Michigan, so there's no way that Saline is going to be able to duplicate that. But I will tell you that was all about economic development. I mean, people were buying things, people were using restaurants. Importantly, people were having a good time. But it was the entire city, in fact, outside the city at Meyer Garden, and it was a great event. And, it lasted a week and so on. Now, I don't know if we've got anybody in the neighborhood who can come up with that kind of money, but if there's an opportunity to do a mini, I would hope that council would look seriously at it in the future.
There is upcoming the Art Walk, which
Yeah.
is a countywide, and I think that's similar. It's a regional-wide, and there is going to be at the Stone Arch an art exhibit, and then also the Potter's Guild at the 12 Art Center will be having their an art display. But I know
The massiveness of some of the artwork in Grand Rapids is amazing. But again,
Okay. Are there any other commissioner committee reports? I guess I would only say the committee, do you want to talk about this Rec Center Task Force Committee, which we're still working on? Did this brochure working with, well, we didn't actually, Design Hub and Carla and staff did this great brochure that hopefully will be in City Hall lobby and library and all over town. It's a really wonderful piece that not only shows the programs, but has an interior map of all the facilities and what the options are for how to use it. And then I understand that the open house went really well. Mr. Campbell, could you report on that?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. As the mayor suggested, that there was a great success at our 10-10-10 open house. We sold 252 memberships and almost additional $50,000 were collected for various events and programs and classes and that type of thing. So it was very, very successful, and certainly kudos as the mayor also, Carla Scruggs, Parks and Rec Director, and her crew out at the Rec Center, continuing to do a tremendous job. And as we all know, I mean, that's one of the services of the community that, I mean, they continue to have to reinvent themselves to try and continue to attract folks, and so they continue to do a great job, and it's so we're just grateful for their efforts and the result.
So are there any other commissioner committee reports? No? And reports and other announcements? The Rensselaer, about the teen center?
Well, Teen Center is having a,
Well, they just have their open house going.
they just had their open house. They're also this Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m. They're having a fall party there, and that is for teens. There'll be some games and things that they're going to do, and then they're going to show a movie after that. So it'll wrap up by 10 o'clock. It's kind of a Halloween theme. The open house that took place 2 weekends ago now, I guess, went over very well. They had well over 100 people there on Friday evening for the teen concert. They actually ended up with an extra band that wasn't planned. They just sort of showed up. So it ran over a little bit longer than what they had planned, but cut it off at 11. And on Saturday, then, it was open to the general public. The attendance was not quite what had been hoped for, but there was still a goodly number of folks who came through, got an exposure to the fifth corner. And we will have some additional open house opportunities as time goes on. We are meeting Wednesday evening, the administrative board, to pick the actual opening date when we will begin to be open probably not every evening yet, but some designated evenings per week right after school. We've got some items that need to be purchased, some programs put in place before we actually open the doors, and we don't have enough funding yet to be open 5 days a week. But I think we're going to try and start with 3 days per week after school, and are pointing towards either November the 8th or the November the 15th as an open date.
And they have a website or Facebook
We're on
page?
Facebook.
What's the Facebook page?
The Fifth Corner Facebook page, and so that's where one of the ways that we're putting information out at the moment. Haven't developed a website yet. Work in progress.
Mr. Morrow?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I forgot to announce that this past Thursday at the Saline Area Senior Center, the staff hosted what I believe was a very successful forum and seminar on the comprehensive health care bill that passed at the federal level earlier this past spring and was signed into law by President Obama. And we found a physician by the name of Dr. Cook from U of M Health Center who practices internal medicine, with a particular focus and expertise on diabetes treatment, who spoke, did a PowerPoint, and then did a Q&A. It was very, very insightful, objective, nonpartisan. Had over, I believe, 65, 70 seniors from the area show up, and I was very, very impressed by the enlightened, thoughtful questions that they asked. In fact, it's so successful that I talked to Pam, the program director at the center today, and it looks like we're going to do another one with this same gentleman in February. So for those of you who are interested, you can be, if you're a senior, you can come. If you're not a senior and you're just interested in knowing more about the law, I would highly recommend that you keep that on your radar. We're looking to do it sometime in February and March. It was very successful and very enlightening.
Okay, any announcements? AATA is coming to their public hearing here October 25th. Is it the 25th? What's the date? Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, October 25th from 6 to 8 p.m. They're working on a long-range plan for transit in the county. Anybody that's interested in learning more about that or participating and giving feedback on what you'd like to see. This is, I believe, is it, Todd, is it a 30-year, 20-year plan? Or 30 years?
30 years.
30?
30 years.
Thank you. Are there any other reports or announcements? I had a question about, and I asked, if you could talk about the dead trees in front of the Ford plant.
Sure. Staff is working with ACH folks. In the last a year and a half or so ago, when they did the updates and to the parking lots, and they put some trees, and apparently they have, as I understand it, they have a lot of heavy soils there that retain the water between the groundwater as well as the stormwater runoff, and essentially the overwatering or drowning of the trees, if you will. So they have, as of in the last few months, been working with city staff to try and come up with a different plan for out front. So I know city staff met with ACH folks actually this morning to discuss some further detail, which they're going back to the corporate office to see if they'll do that. But one of the things we had proposed is to have street trees along there that they would provide in the right-of-way, the whole length of the property along Michigan Ave, which I think was so. But that's what we're working with them on that, and hopeful that, I don't know if they'll be able to turn it around yet this year, but hopefully certainly in the fall planting, or I'm sorry, the spring planting.
And you want to talk about the right-of-way?
Well, one of the things we suggested is to consider giving a portion of their current property to MDOT, it's MDOT's road, for their right-of-way for possible future. So if it's the right-of-way is larger, possible future non-motorized path along the front.
That's been an area that we've been trying to get a sidewalk for. Well, Pat, when you were mayor, weren't you trying to get a sidewalk out there?
Yeah, back in the last century, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are some
I never
thoughts.
thought of it that way, but it's true.
It was right after the Civil War, there wasn't the money.
Okay, and then the other question, does anybody have any questions about that, the landscaping and everything? And then I had somebody ask about the Concanon property, what the status is on that?
Well, funny you should ask. And I'll let City Attorney Grossman speak to that a little bit, but also, and I have not had a chance really to digest this, but I know the neighbor to that is, of course, Councilmember Rhodes, and he has given, apparently as of last week, there's a notice that's been put up on the property called Notice of Show Cause Hearing and Judicial Foreclosure Hearing. And Mr. Rhodes gave this to me tonight, so I'll discuss this with Mr. Grossman and see where we proceed from here, but I'll turn the rest of it over to Alan.
Do we have a hearing date set yet, Mr. Grossman?
No, what's happened is we filed suit some time ago and served the 3 LLCs involved, and they did not answer, and we have defaulted them. The next step is for us to present our judgment and have the court enter it. And I handed the judgment to Mr. Campbell today, as a matter of fact. I didn't think he'd have time to look at it, having just gotten back from vacation.
We could put that on the agenda for the next meeting then? For those of you in the audience, the property we're talking about is the property downtown that is a vacant lot that was a gas station and car dealership that was supposed to be a development, and it's been sitting vacant and in pretty major disrepair for quite a while now. So we have steps we need to take in order to get some resolution on that. So just getting an update on that. So can we bring it back to the next council meeting for discussion and a report, a more formal
Certainly.
report on where we stand on that? And then my only other question was regarding the press we got on Sunday regarding police reports, and if you could give us some information on that.
Well, very little at this point. I did speak with Chief Bunton this morning, and we discussed it, and he's looking into it. At this point, we believe it's more of a paperwork as far as issue, where an example would be, say there's a person that is responsible for multiple incidents. We'll just say 10, and on that 10th one, they catch the person, arrest them, convict them. Oftentimes that 10th incident is closed out, while those other ones remain not closed out. And in my understanding, and as we look into this more, and we'll get the information to you just as soon as we have a better look at it. As I understand it, this is a ongoing challenge to a lot of agencies where they have a lot of dedicated, some have more, some have less dedicated staff to make sure that those get done. But so we are looking at that, and that's what we believe it is, because I do believe we do have one of the better, if not the best, departments in the county. So that's where that's at right now.
Is there any questions from council? Thank you. Is there any other discussion items? If not, I mentioned the art walk that's this weekend coming up. Please come support your local artists. And we'll move on to public comment. Under the Open Meetings Act, any citizen may come forward at this time and make comment or question to City Council. This public comment period will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Anyone who would like to speak is requested but not required to state his or her name and address for the record.
Art Trav, Sunset Lake in Saline. Lee was kind enough to remind me that the approval we received from the CARES board is not the final approval. The final approval comes through the Board of Education, which will be sometime next month. So what I'm asking for is the ability to purchase the ice rink not pending the final approval by the Board of Education. In all the times that CARES grants have come through, they have never rejected one period. So likelihood of them rejecting this is, I think, very, very minor, so.
It's already a budget item, isn't it, in the budget? We don't have to approve it.
Well, it's budgeted as a grant received for part of it and so forth. The advisory committee is sending it on to the Board of Education as approved by the advisory committee. And the Board of Education has never refused what the advisory committee sent forward before. It's just in order to get the project moving, to get it ordered and so forth. It's timely to order it very soon.
If we don't do this, it'll be sometime in December before we can really get it. And, you know, we're just minimizing the use of it for this year then if we do that. So we can order it, you know, over the next couple of days. We'll have it up and going by the middle of November. So
are you saying, do we need a motion?
It's certainly within my spending. I mean, that...
I think we pretty much authorized that an ice rink be placed at Henry Field.
Correct. And
I just am going to say, I know I harped on the whole downtown thing. I would really like to find some documentation of downtown participation by the people that use ice rink, because it is coming out of downtown development dollars. And if it's not going to impact, you know, downtown merchants, that money is very limited, and that's sort of why I was pushing back a little bit on that. So I am okay with that for this year, but in the future, I think, you know, it could come out of Parks Commission or other, you know, TIF dollars, but right now, that's a very limited, restricted budget, and they have a long laundry list of things that they would like to see happen. So if it was downtown, I think it's very clearly, but this is sort of in the gray area. So just if you could make sure that we have some way of monitoring whether or not there are actual people are moving from the ice rink to the downtown area, that would be really helpful.
okay.
Okay, so we don't need a motion. Thank you, Mr. Trapp. Is there any other citizen comments?
My name is Jim Roth, 186 Anwood Court, and I just want to make a statement that I think the selection or appointment of Linda Terhar for council member is an excellent choice. I've worked with her on several committees, and her heart really is with the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, council members, I'm Steve Gill, Chair of the Board of Trustees of Washtenaw Community College, and this is Pam Harizny, who is Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees of Washtenaw Community College. And just here to remind you that on November 2nd is a very important election where you'll have the opportunity to elect two trustees, hopefully re-election of both of us to the Board of Trustees of the college. It was interesting to hear your discussion about economic development so much, took up much of your meeting tonight, and the Washtenaw Community College is a very important partner in the economic development of your city. You send the high school, I think this past year, sent 235 students? 239. 239, thanks. Pam's a CPA, so I always turn to her for the numbers. To the new students to the college, and that's a significant number. I think it's the third largest of the high schools in the county. We've been seeing a lot of growth in the last few years because of the economy. We have about 14,000 credit seeking students now, and we have about 30,000 people who take courses with us for credit or non-credit classes, many of them from Saline. So we're educating your high school students, we're educating your unemployed auto workers, and we're educating a lot of the workers in plants who have to learn new technical skills, especially advanced manufacturing. So we think we're a very important partner, and we hope it's a reciprocal kind of relationship. Pam, you want to have anything to add?
The last time I addressed the council and the citizens of Saline, I believe it was because I was the executive director of the Washtenaw County chapter of the American Red Cross, and I probably was asking you for your blood at that time. So here I'm asking you for something that's equally as important, and that is your vote on November 2nd. it's difficult to get the word out for this elected position, and we're on the back of the ballot at the bottom. And so we're taking every opportunity we can to get the word out about how important it is. This election is particularly important to the college because within the first 3 months of the new term beginning, we'll be selecting a new president for the college. And many of you know Larry Whitworth. He'll be a very tough act to follow. And we feel that the experience that Steve and I bring, we've been on the board for 6 years, will be critical in making the right choice for the college and for the entire Washtenaw Community College community. We very much appreciate the taxpayers' support and look forward to serving them in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other citizen comments?
Hi, I'm Larry Osterling with the Saline Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm just here to remind folks that we have a major event coming up this week, which is the Business Enterprise Awards. It's an annual award the Chamber makes, and it's one that's near and dear to my heart. It's really the Academy Awards of what a business can achieve in our market. And interestingly enough, Jim Roth brought a whole crowd of visiting German students to the Chamber this afternoon, and I asked them if they happened to have heard of this year's awardee in the large category, which is Liebherr. And they looked at me like, what do you think? I mean, everybody knows Liebherr, which is really an excellent, I'm really looking forward to having them come and be recognized. I think it's something that's been long overdue. In the less than 20 employees this year, also Hartman Insurance is another one that's been a long-time Salinian. Great business for our community, and we're looking forward to making the award to them. We do also have something we started last year. I'm not sure it's going to happen every year, but there's a professional lifetime achievement recognition, and just so happens people come up that we think need to be recognized, and as it turns out, more and more of those people are starting to surface as, I hate to say my generation, people in my generation are starting to retire, at least getting recognized for their body of work. And Kim Rhodes from Rhodes Door and Associates is being recognized there. So I would remind folks that it's still possible to get maybe a last-minute reservation. We're already over 100 people, which was probably, if we have 5 more by Thursday, we'll have an all-time record for this function. But it is Thursday evening at Stonebridge Golf Club. One last comment, too. Some of you may have noticed that we had the downtown lighting folks come around, and the only word I can think of is recharge. They make sure the lights work, they're wound right, they replace strings, and it takes them about 4 days of doing that. And they were, I was gone last week, but I understand they were up for Ladies' Night Out on Thursday, and they look pretty good. So we still have money in that fund. We could add a few trees. It looks like that fund will last at least another year or two, which is also coincident with the life of the lighting presentation that we have. And then we'll start fundraising all over again. Another sidelight is the Lowe's Corporation. Last year, some of you may have noticed a lot of the businesses on one side of the streets had hanging icicle lights. It was sort of a nice presentation in addition to what the presentation was down there. I've talked to the merchants, too, and it'd be like, they mentioned that some of them would have liked to have been involved. I guess I didn't mind letting them be involved, but as long as they go up in the ladder and put the lights up as opposed to me. And so as a result of that conversation, I went to order some more lights, and as it turned out, Lowe's Corporation donated 300 strings of hanging icicle lights, so we'll probably see as many as what people want to have hanging up there. I thought that was a nice contribution on their behalf. And we're looking forward to a successful holiday season. We are already planning the holiday parade. So if you have events or unique things that would look good in our holiday parade, please give the Chamber a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Is there any other business to come before the Saline City Council? If not, our next meeting is November 1st at 7:30 p.m. We have a motion to adjourn at 7:35.
Move to adjourn.
Move Morrow.
Second.
Second Law. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm wondering if